Alright, so I'm going to be starting off with my Dr. Jart CC Pear. It's their Tiger Grass Color Correcting Treatment. I use this as my moisturizer in the morning, and also it helps with like any redness that I have. Alright, now I'm going to go in with my primer, and I'm using the Fab First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. Okay, so now I'm going to be going in with my Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation, and I am in the color 3N2 Wheat, and I'm going to be using my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. I'm just going to pour a little bit on the back of my hand. I don't use a whole lot because this is really full coverage, and I don't need a lot of coverage. Next, I'm going to be using my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I am in the color Light Medium Honey. This one might be a little too light for me right now because I'm super tan, but I like it to be lighter under my eyes anyways. And I just apply it in little like triangles and kind of go up onto my cheekbones to kind of lift my face a little bit. And now taking a damp beauty sponge, I'm just going to blend that out. Okay, and before I set that with powder, I'm going to go in with my cream products because I like to use my cream products before I put any powder on my face. Otherwise, it just kind of makes my cream products look a little bit weird and patchy. So I'm going to go in with my Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel. I don't know if I just butchered that name, but this is what it looks like. I believe it only comes in one color, but this is my favorite cream bronzer. I'm going to take my Stilazzi S107 brush. It's just kind of like a little round top kabuki brush, and I'm going to swirl some product. And I just kind of go on a little bit above my cheekbone. I don't like to go right on my cheekbone because then it kind of transfers down, and I don't want it to be down here. I want it to be mostly up here to kind of lift my face. So I like to apply it a little bit above where the hollow of my cheek is, and you can find the hollow of your cheek if you go like this. So there's like the hollow of my cheek, so I like to kind of go right there. And then I put it around here and then under my jawline. Instead of swirling it, I like to just pat it because I feel like that just makes it a little bit more blended and not as streaky. But this product is super duper easy to blend out. Alright, now I'm going to take my NARS. This is their new liquid blush. I really, really like it. It's super pigmented though. You do not need a full pump. That was like the first mistake I made when I first got it, is I used a full pump and I had like enough for a week on my hand. But this is in the color Dulce Vita. And you have to make sure that you shake it really well because there's like some clear stuff that just kind of sits at the top. So you want to make sure you shake it up really well. And I use literally probably like 1/4 of a pump. Like the tiniest amount. I'll like try to show you, but I can't because it'll like fall off because it's super liquidy. But then I just take my finger and I apply a couple dots onto my cheeks. This blends out super nicely, so I know it looks like a lot right now, but it'll blend out really nice. And then I'm going to go back in with my beauty sponge, and I use the bigger end while blending this out, and I just kind of lightly start packing it in. And I like a lot of blush. You definitely probably don't want to use this much, but I like to use a lot of blush. And if you feel like you ended up using too much, you can just go in with a little bit of the foundation that you used and put it on the back of this sponge and then kind of diffuse it a little bit. Or even with the brush that you use to blend your foundation, sometimes I just go over the top with it. But yeah, even my 1/4 of a pump was too much. Like, I still have a lot on my hand, so. And I have a lot on my face. Okay, so now I am going to set my under eyes. And for this, I use my Ben Nye translucent powder and my wet beauty sponge, and I just pack it under my eyes. And I pack a lot under there just so it stays in place all day. And I make sure to only get under my eyes. And I'm going to powder the rest of my face a little bit later, but right now while that's setting, I like to do my eyebrows. And for my eyebrows, I use the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade, and I am in the color Blonde because I'm very, very blonde. And I just use their little Anastasia brush. I think you can buy it from them. It's just a little angled one, and then it has a little spoolie on the end of it, which I really like. And yeah, I dip my brush in there, and then I pat the excess on the top of the thing. And I just kind of comb out my eyebrows. I comb them up and then down over here, because that's just kind of the look that I like. And then I already have like a good shape to my eyebrows, so I am basically just filling them in and making them a little bit darker because they are too light for me. And I like to use really light brush strokes when I'm right here, and then kind of heavier back here, because I want it to be darker down here but lighter right here, because I feel like that looks the most natural. I also really like their little like twist up brushes. I really like the angled one, but they were all out of my color when I was there, and this one's cheaper and you get a lot more product. Like this will dry up before you get to use all of it. That's what happened with my other one, is it dried up before I got to use all of it. It's just kind of annoying, but yeah, this stuff's only $18. I think the angled one was like $23, so. All right, now I am going to take, this is just some fluffy brush. I think it's from Aveda, from when I went to school there. And I just kind of brush it off. And I like to make sure it's all off, otherwise it leaves like a white cast, especially like in photos. If you're using flash, it'll leave like a huge like white cast under there, and I don't really like that. All right, now going in with my Huda Beauty 3D highlighter palette. I am going to take the cream one, which is Capri. Oh, I have the pink sand edition one. So I just take that and I pat it on the top of my cheekbones. And they say to use this as like your bronzer, blush, and highlight, but this one is supposed to be like the bronzer, and it's just not a bronzer for me. That's like a highlighter for me, for like how dark I am. So I just kind of like mix both of those as my highlighter, and I'll use this as blush sometimes, but since I already put on blush today, I'm not going to. And this is my favorite highlighting brush. It's the Real Techniques setting brush. It's super duper nice for highlighting. So now I'm just going to take Santorini and Azores kind of mix those a little bit together and apply that on top of where I put the cream. And I kind of like to make sure that it's like blended out so it's not like super shimmer and then like my matte blush, because this stuff, it has like a tiny bit of shimmer in it but not a lot. So I like to just blend that. And then for my nose, I'm going to contour that real quick. Definitely not necessary, but I feel like I have a big nose, so I like to contour it. I'm going to be using my Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette. For this, I use the darkest one, which is the color Sombre. I use that. And then I just used this brush that I got, I think it was in the Naked Smoky palette. I don't know, it just has like this tiny little tip that I like to use to contour my nose. So I don't even know how to like explain how to make this face, but I kind of try to like elongate my nose and then I try to make it smaller. So I like to make my dark lines like super close to each other, which I'll show you. Okay, so see how they're like super close to each other? That just kind of gives me the illusion of a smaller nose and like a more, I don't know, more pointy, I guess. And then I take the two lightest colors in this palette, these two. I've never used this. It's too dark for me. And I just mix those together and I put that down the bridge of my nose. Right there. And then once it blends out, it just kind of makes me look like I have a slimmer nose. I definitely don't do this every day, but when I have time, I try to, or when I remember. And then I like to put some highlighter on it. I don't use my Huda highlighter just because I feel like that's like a little bit more of a soft highlighter and not like as like glitter. So I'm going to go in with my Anastasia Nicole Guerrero Glow Kit. And I am going to take Glow Getter. And that same brush that I was using, if I can find it. Yep, this one. And I just like to apply that to the bridge of my nose and then the top of my nose. And then right above my lip. And then I also like to use this to highlight my inner corners and my brow bones. So this is like my favorite brush for this. I got this in like I think in like an Ipsy thing. It's the Vera Mona. I've never heard of that brand before, but I really like how small it is and how it can just like get right in my inner corner. And I'm going to mix Glow Getter and Kitty Cat. So the one that I used on my nose, and then Kitty Cat's right there. Kitty Cat is like so glittery, I love it. And I just apply that to my inner corners. And then on my brow bone. And I do not wear eyeshadow every single day just because since I do have eyelash extensions, these are not my real eyelashes, I do have eyelash extensions, it's a little bit harder to put it on and to take it off at night, so I usually just don't wear eyeshadow all over, like I don't wear eyeshadow here on an everyday basis. I do wear it sometimes though, just not every day. For lips, I'm just going to be doing something super natural. I usually really like my MAC Viva Glam 2, but that is in my purse right now. This one is one that I really like too. It's my NARS Dolce Vita, which is the same color as my blush. So that is nice, but it's seriously just like a color that's like your lips, but better. It's really not that dark. It doesn't do like a whole lot, but it just gives me a little color. And I usually don't put mascara down here. Again, that's usually something I do like if it's like a if I'm going out or I'm doing like a more special look, just because that's super hard to take off too. So yeah, that's my finished look. I hope you guys liked it. Thanks for watching. Bye!